Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's your life coach, Andrea Jackson. Welcome to Joy Life Center Coaching and Consulting. We're going to jump right on into our group. We have people that's waiting to go jump on in. I'm so excited this morning. We're going to be talking about healing from anger. So we're going to go on and get into that. Hold on one second. We have some people connecting to their audio. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Ms. Jackson.
Hey, Miss
Mr.
Susu. Good
Jackson.
morning. Good morning. Good morning. Awesome. Awesome. Good morning, everyone. I think Miss Kashara is still trying to get her audio together. Hold on one second. Or maybe it's my end. Okay. Sorry about this delay. I'm just checking something really quickly because it seemed like something has changed. All right, we'll worry about that later. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So great to hear you guys calling on in. I want to say right off the front, thank you so much for some such awesome reviews. I was reading those reviews and I was just in awe of how God can use um life. He can use life circumstances to build us and groom us in different ways. He can use people to build us and groom us in different ways. He uses each of us to build us and groom us in different ways. So I was so grateful. Thank you so much for that. Um, Please excuse my distraction. I don't know what's changed today, but we'll figure it out later because we want to jump right in. Today we're going to be talking about healing from anger. Healing from anger. Life throws so much at us and we go through so much, and now we're trying to cultivate our lives in a way that's able to help us to live our best life. And here it is, other people are just doing what they feel. They're doing what they want to do. They're operating in behaviors that's unhealthy, and we're still having to deal with the path that we're on, especially as believers, right? Especially as believers, I choose to obey God. I choose, what is that? I choose to do what it is that God has called me and live a life that God has called me. And sometimes there's different things in the world that we don't know about. There's hidden triggers, there's external triggers, there's internal triggers, emotional stuff, sometimes there's lures, there's all sorts of things that can pull me away from what God is calling me to do. And guess what? I don't want to be pulled away anymore. But sometimes we feel angry, sometimes because of the way some people treat us, sometimes because of life circumstances, or sometimes because the life that I've chosen to live will not allow me to act in the way that I used to act, or do things about things that I feel is in my power to do. But guess what? We want to heal from that anger. Some anger is innate. Some anger is just from within. Some anger, we're just born with a disposition where we have to kind of loosen up our boundaries a little bit and let people be people. Let people make their own mistakes, let them do their own things, and accept that. Accept it. So on today, we're going to be talking about healing from anger. But before we do that, let's check in with you. How you doing? What's your mental health like? What's your state this morning? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Good morning. Good morning, Miss Susu.
Good.
Good morning to all. I'm feeling pretty good this morning. I'm, a little tired in the body. I think from the exercise, we're just getting started again,
Ah,
from that little illness. But I'm doing pretty good. Like yesterday, I guess I didn't realize I hadn't caught up. I laid down to take a little nap and I overslept. So I meant to I meant to put the timer on. So I kind of overslept and had to rush to go get the kids. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good though. And I just thank God for this day, a new beginning.
a new
Amen.
beginning. Awesome. I love that. Thank you, Miss Susu. That's amazing. A new beginning. I love that. Let's see. Who else? Who's next? Who's next for check-in? I don't have my list up. That's what I'm fiddling around with over here. For some reason, my list isn't showing me who came and in what order. So I can't call you according to your order. But just please go ahead and just check in this morning.
Ooh, I was trying to get in. Good morning. Good morning. I tell you, the phones are going crazy. Everything's going crazy. And I slide it. Send a message. Let me call you back. And they keep calling. And I'm trying to hear. But amen. Good morning. Good morning,
Good morning.
everyone. I feel pretty good this morning. Although I have a glimpse of whatever is going around,
Mm,
and just trying to stay warm and dry, because that the air is so damp and moist,
yeah.
but just trying to stay dry. But other than that, feeling good. This is the day that the Lord have made. We shall, will, and must rejoice and be glad in it. And it's so good to hear all of you, and looking forward to the meeting.
Excellent, excellent, awesome. You sound amazing. And I saw your picture on Facebook. I remember in a class you were inspired by another participant to get out there and do some walking. And I saw you in your walking clothes and your tennis shoes. I said, well, look at here. Look at here. Congratulations. That's what life change is all about. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Ms. Kashara.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Awesome. Awesome. Who's next? Go ahead and check in.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
God bless everybody this morning. Um, I'm okay. Got to sort my mind, sort out my tasks for the day, the task I'm gonna try to get done today. Um, and try to stay on target with the task, and maybe I need to grab my other notebook and write this stuff down. Because one thing about getting old, you need to get your head right as far as like
Absolutely.
laying out your little task and note taking and stuff like that. It's important. But
Absolutely.
all is well. I'm here, live and kicking, and I recognize for me, I'm not in the same place I was maybe a year to 2 years
Amen.
ago. And may growth come and may it come quickly because age is showing up quickly. Thank you. Age is
Absolutely.
showing up quickly. So we want growth to show up quickly so we
Yes.
don't waste our productive rest of the productive years on foolishness. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I love that. Words of wisdom. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Words of wisdom. We don't want to waste time on foolish stuff that's not productive for our growth. I like that. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Go ahead and check in with us this morning. Well, all right. All right. I'm going to jump right on in. We have a quotation on this morning that I would like to share, and it's by a 20th century British author. His name is Charles Dickens, and it's a very short one, but I want to hear what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts? A loving heart is the truest wisdom. A loving heart is the truest wisdom. What does that speak to you? Someone go ahead, unmute your phone and share. Anyone want to take a stab at it?
Hey, yeah. Seems like it's just self-explanatory. Loving heart is what was the last part?
The truest
True,
is the truest wisdom.
truest wisdom.
Mhm.
Okay, and you speaking from the heart and you love, you're gonna speak wisdom and truth, you know. That's what I can say. You love, you speak the truth.
Okay.
Even sometimes the truth hurt though, but you speak it. You love it, you know.
Okay.
Um, that's what I can get off of it.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I like that approach. Thank you. Anyone else?
Wait a minute, repeat
Having
that
the
again.
roughest time
Repeat
trying
that
to get
again.
this phone unmuted. A loving heart. You say a loving heart,
A loving heart is the truest wisdom.
truest wisdom. I believe that with the loving heart, the wisdom that we receive, the knowledge and understanding that we receive, we're able to give back, give to individuals um, that love, expressing to them that
Mhm.
love from from our heart. We're able to give it to them, show and display, and also giving words of wisdom, encouraging them to know that love conquers all,
Yeah.
and that they're able to proceed with encouragement through the words of love. And that's what I get out of it.
Excellent. Amazing. You guys rock. Thank you so much. I love that. I love it. There's so much that we can get from a loving heart, so much wisdom. Thank you so much. Denise, I think you were about to share something.
Yeah, I was about to say a loving heart is the best wisdom. A loving heart, if you can keep a balanced, loving heart, you don't have to get bitter when stuff hits the fan in life. People turn on you in life. Uh, when people don't appreciate the blessing that you are in life, that if you can keep a loving heart,
Wow.
Jesus loves us. I mean, I ain't going there, but he loves us.
Yes.
He had that loving heart that no matter what they did, no matter what they said, he was still
Wow.
our advocate. So to keep a loving heart is to keep from getting a bitter heart.
Wow.
To keep a loving heart is it can let me put it like this, it'll keep you right.
Okay.
It'll keep you right. Sometimes you have to step away to honor yourself or to say, okay, let me stop throwing pearls before swine.
Yeah.
but still love them. Like, let me pray for you because I can't mess with you no more.
Mm.
Let me just pray for you because I know I can't really mess with
I
you up
can't
close
fool
because
around with you no more.
it's just a little too much sometimes.
You
So
challenge my loving heart.
yes, yes, yes. So a loving heart will keep you from hardness and bitterness. I have to watch that hardness. That's what I have to watch.
Okay.
That hardness, having not received a lot of love and affection in my personal life in ever, that I have to watch that potentially hardened heart. Because
Mhm.
sometimes it do get kind of crusty and we have to snatch it back.
Right, right.
And it's real. It's real talk.
Yes. Yes. Wow. I love that approach. I love that approach. Maintaining that loving heart in order to give that wisdom, that truest wisdom, excuse me, it's hard to maintain that loving heart because that when you have a loving heart, people can abuse it, bruise it, and abuse it. What did I say? Bruise it, use it, and abuse it. But people can hurt it and they can get bitter. They can injure it, take your kindness for weakness. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Ah, thank you so much. I'm going to remind you guys after you finish speaking, make sure you put your phones on mute. Like I said, my roll call list is a little awkward today, so therefore I'm not able to help you in that fashion. So today we're going to jump right in. Is there anyone else that wanted to share on the quotation? All right. Well, we're going to jump right in. We're going to be talking about anger. So, with anger, now we know what the Bible says. The Bible says that it's okay to anger, but sin not. So the Bible recognizes the beauty of anger as long as it's controlled, because when it's uncontrolled, when it's destructive, that's when we operate in sin. That's when we operate in an arena that can bring us consequences and things like that, right? So one thing we want to do, we want to be able to embrace the anger, but we want to have that control, that self-control, and that control over our anger. Anything that we don't dominate will dominate us. So one thing that we have to know how to do is stay in control of our anger. So we want to heal from anger, because sometimes anger has had an ability to have its course for years. Sometimes we on this line have operated in anger, whereas we just didn't care. Sometimes people say, I just saw red. Some people say, I just saw black. Some people say, I didn't see anything at all. I just woke up in the hospital or in jail. Da, 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 da. So we want to take a look at that, because we don't want anything that God has made in us to now control us outside of the Holy Spirit. I don't know about you, but I do not want anger to be the helm of my decision making, of my actions, of my future. It's just like an addiction, climbing in the back seat of your life while anger just drives you around. No, I don't want to do that. When you come to yourself, you got all kinds of people mad at you. You got all kinds of court appearances, things like that, because of the consequences of our anger. We're going to jump right in. I want to ask you, do you have a problem with anger? Now, we're going to move rapidly because I got a lot to give you on today. And if we don't finish it, we will continue it tomorrow. It's just that important. We're not going to wait for it to come back around. We're going to finish it up tomorrow because it's just that important. That anger emotion is that emotion that can take you to a really bad place. A lot of any emotion can take you to a bad place if we do not control it. But the anger is that emotion that other emotions can just jump on and just ride. You may start feeling maybe just a little jealous, but what happens is that jealousy, it can slide into anger that you don't even realize that you're jealous in order to deal with the jealousy, but you're already in full-blown rage and anger. So now I'm dealing with my anger, but I'm not really dealing with the root cause of the anger. Many times I've learned in life, many times anger is not the primary emotion. Many times it's not that you angry because something happened that produced anger. Sometimes anger comes because of another feeling that's there. Because you're hurt, you become angry. Because you're sick, you become angry. Because you've been embarrassed, you become angry rather than dealing with the core of the emotion. So I'm going to ask some questions, and I want you to think about how many of these apply to me. How many of these things apply to me? Good morning. Good morning. I see someone just chimed in. I don't have my call list on today. So we're talking about healing from anger. So I'm going to ask some questions here. Do you have a problem with blowing up at others? Number one. Do you have a problem with often criticizing others? What about, do you feel anger but can't express it sometimes? Or have you had impulses to harm others, be it verbally or emotionally or physically? Have you ever said you hate yourself, or you felt so much anger and hate towards yourself? Do you experience isolation because of anger? Do you feel bitter? Do you feel bitter? That can be a sure telltale sign that you have some uncontrolled anger. Have you had impulses to harm yourself, or have someone else said to you, you have an anger problem? Anyway, out of those, does any of those strike you that you may have an anger problem? Just quickly go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
This is Susu. I don't believe I have an anger problem. I think I have that basically under control, but I know at one time, I guess there's different degrees of anger or upset, because I know in my former years, of my marriage before my last, something had happened with the financing thing, and I was upset with my husband at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say I was hurt. I was very hurt, because of the situation that the funds were gone and all.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, I was there for him. He was sick and all, and I was there for him, but I was still upset. But I don't say, I guess, angry enough, to hurt him or, want something to happen or anything like that. But I say I would get upset, but in times I could get over that, so I can go on with life. So I think I basically have that under control there. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Would you say, Miss Susu, and to everyone on the line, because there was one that I left out. I wanted to introduce that at a later time. But are you one that says you never feel anger? Anyone? Well, Miss Susu, since you have the floor, you already actually answered that, because you said you did feel angry. You just responded. You responded safely and well. Okay, so perfect.
Right. Yeah, I was very, very upset, but I didn't respond in no hateful or mean way or stuff. I argued a while, but that was it. I realized nothing I could do about that, so why hurt myself? But I held on to it though for a while. I held on, but like I said, I had no malice against or hurt him or nothing like that. But that's the way that they did, the way that made me feel. But today I'm free from that.
Excellent. Okay. Excellent. I like that. So you just like the Bible principle declares, you angered but sin not. So that's great. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Anyone where these questions that I just asked did hit you in a way?
Yes. Now you talk about anger. When I was young, because I was unsupported in life and there was no big brothers, no big cousins to look out for me,
Mm-hmm.
the anger, I went through a lot of bullying. And a lot of people don't understand that was the reason why I get people up off me, because of I don't ever want to find myself in that position again. I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I've gone through a lot. And but that anger for me and that hurt, because I had no safe place to take it, it turned into depression. Anger unaddressed can turn into depression.
Mm-hmm.
I found that out as a child. And then later on, come middle school, I had enough is enough is enough. And I used to go into rage blackouts.
Okay.
Like I had nobody to come and defend me, nobody to fight for me, nobody to come see about me. Like I had these girls coming after me. And one of the reasons I've never had a graduation since elementary school was it was close to the close of seventh grade, and we was or whatever grade we was in, and about to go to high school, whatever it was. And these girls came after me. I came to school with a meat cleaver because I planned on taking them out.
Wow.
Because I can't box with you. That I'm going to hack you.
Right.
And I never forget this one big guy. He was able to get hold of me and stop. He was big enough to stop me. That rage hit me from time to time. It still does from time to time. And I will go sideways. I will become unrecognizable. I know about me.
Right.
I know about me. I have to be careful. I have to be careful. It's hard sometimes to express that hurt and that anger. And also, too, holding that stuff can make you sick, too.
Yes. Oh my.
It can turn into hypertension, a lifelong buildup of anger and hurt. Can
Mhm.
turn into hypertension. It can turn into cancer. It can turn into a lot of things, a lot of ailments, a lot of health ailments. We eat anger. I don't know. Does anybody eat anger? I have.
Hmm.
I take anger to Johnny's pastrami sometimes.
Okay. I got you.
I have taken anger to have a nice, fat, juicy steak dinner with baked potato
Mhm.
because I was angry and hurting or eating sweets or eating something I shouldn't be
Yeah.
eating. I very seldom ever took anger to a salad bar or to go
Okay.
get a salad.
Very seldom, huh?
No, no, anger, when I'm on salad, that means I'm acting nice.
Okay. Okay.
But
Okay.
that anger, there's a song Marvin Gaye did. It was on this album called Hear My Dear.
Uh-huh.
It was the divorce album. He had to do the divorce settlement.
Okay.
But
Okay.
there's a song on it called Anger. Anger, it makes you sick, children.
Wow.
Anger destroys your soul. He talks about rage. And it's a sin to treat your body bad. He talks about the anger. That song is so accurate
Wow.
where he breaks down anger, the name of his anger. So anybody interested, go check it out on YouTube called Anger by Marvin Gaye. And it was off the Hear My Dear album. Anger is something. Now, where I'm at as an adult now, I believe in trying to stay out of situations that if it goes sideways, if it go bad, you gonna be real upset.
Hmm.
So sometimes I'll find myself avoiding relationships, avoiding stuff because if it go bad and I get angry, I don't want to deal with that.
Okay.
I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather nah. I don't want to go through that. I don't be wanting to go through all that because if it go bad, I don't want to have to cancel you off my planet.
Right. 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 Right.
I be canceling for. I got my own. I've been had my own cancel culture going for a long time.
Oh my God. I love how you even shared how the buildup of anger through the years, like you said, when you got to middle school, it was like that was it. There was so much rage, so much unresolved issue that your anger had become destructive. And in that, we understand, like you said, that rage comes. And with that, all sorts of consequences can come. And I like how you shared how because of that you've had to protect yourself down through the years, whether it's been in a healthy way or unhealthy way. Like you say, you've kind of found yourself isolating yourself from people and relationships, afraid of it going bad. Because when it goes bad, you know consciously that it can go to a bad place. So I'm so glad that you're here today, and hopefully we can talk about some tools or some safety precautions, some policies that we can um, put around that so that isolation is it the coping skill to keep from the possibility of blowing up? Thank you for sharing that. That was amazing. Anyone else, have you experienced any of these that symptoms of anger that I threw out today? Again, I'll say blowing up at others, criticizing others, feel angry but can't express it, have impulses to harm others. You hate yourself. You often isolate. You feel bitter. You have impulses to harm yourself, or others have said you have an anger problem. Any of those fit you? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Sister Lupe here.
Hey,
Hey, sorry, I was a couple of minutes late. I
that's
got two
okay.
sick
I just don't have
children.
my chart.
Yeah, my kids are sick now, so
Okay.
yeah. Anyhow, for me, I think anger has always been a big part of my life. Growing
Mhm,
up in a very angry environment,
mhm.
um, those things were installed in me as a very young age. So even without thinking, the impulses come and the anger actions and the verbal, the criticism comes out. Um, Nowadays, I find myself getting less angry.
Okay.
I don't know. I think there's just a shifting in me that just and that's I believe that's just the result of getting the going into these groups every day,
Yes.
getting fed,
Yes.
church ministry, prayer, fasting, everything you could think
Everything.
of. I think and then I finally see, like, wow, like I didn't probably feel it in the moment while I was healing and taking these self-help groups and fellowship and everything I was doing. At the time I was still getting angry, and now I see that it really, now I see everything that I worked so hard to transition and change, it's actually working now. So I see myself not getting angry. I see myself not even trying to get angry because I worked so hard to maintain my peace. So
Yeah.
now, like, I try not to get angry on purpose.
Yes, I love
Because
that.
when you work so hard in your recovery, also anger could be an addiction.
Yes.
And I find myself not wanting that in my, not even wanting to entertain that. So just like I would do as an addict, I don't go to weed spots, I don't go to my friends. If I do go to a little gathering or party, I make it a point to let them know I don't drink, and
Yeah.
I'm only there for like 2-3 hours max. And
Yes.
um the same with anger. I don't try to be in a situation where I already know,
Absolutely.
whether it's overworking, not eating right, just having a conversation with someone that I already know, like, it's gonna get me upset.
Yeah.
So definitely I see anger was a was one of my biggest addiction, and just to see that that's kind of fading away
Mhm.
through just these groups in the morning and everything else that I'm doing for myself.
Yes.
It definitely it's possible to change that anger to not want it. It's a choice. Anger is a choice.
Yes.
Um so I'm happy to say now I'm still get angry, I still yell at my kids from time to time, but that criticism, that verbal abuse is something that I don't let myself go to. If I do, I stop myself immediately, like, stop.
Yes.
So yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Excellent. Wow. Thank you so much. I love that. And I like how you said utilizing everything that you know to do. Eventually, it's just like the biblical principles say, seed planted, they grow. Some plant, some water, God gives the increase. So you just keep working on it, keep working at it, and now you're seeing the increase. You're feeling it or not feeling it. Awesome. Thank you so much. You know, we're going to go on. I want to talk about two types of anger. There's two types of anger. There's a constructive anger and there's a destructive anger. And again, anger is God given. Don't ask God, God, please take my anger away. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's just like if you're stealing, don't ask him to take your arm away. You know, just ask him, Lord, help me to control what you've given me. Because guess what? Anger is needed. We need anger. If someone violates you in a serious way, you know, if they cross your boundaries, your anger is that sign, that indicator that says, hey, warning, wait a minute, you did me wrong. You shouldn't have touched me like that. You shouldn't have spoke that to me like that. Hey, you violated my trust. Whatever it is, those things, though, that anger is that indicator that someone has violated. They've come too close. They've done the wrong thing. Our anger is our indicator. So what? Guess what? Constructive anger is an anger that's moderate. It's an anger that you can control. Constructive anger is an anger that you can talk about. You know, constructive anger is an anger that between 1 and 10, maybe it's a 5. You know, it's something that you can control. It's something that you're not going to go to jail behind. But on the other side of that, uncontrolled anger is that destructive anger. That destructive anger is that anger where you way at a 9 or a 10. You done passed 5 years ago or moments ago, but you're at a 9 or a 10. You're about to blow up. You're criticizing. You're finding yourself in having consequences. You're acting out. You're not able to talk about it anymore. You're acting it out. You're no longer in control of yourself. The anger is raging through you. Now that anger can be very destructive. That can be some destructive anger. So we're going to talk about that because that kind of anger is the anger that harms. Now, you may not be that one that goes shoots up everyone or go and hurt yourself by cutting yourself. But I want you to know that sometimes we have that type of destructive anger and energy, but we're monitoring not to how to act it out. So it's acted out sometimes in verbal abuse, is acted out in criticism, is acted out in the bitterness of your heart. And I love that takes us back to where Denise was saying how, you know, that loving heart, maintaining that loving heart. Anger can violate the loving heart that God gave you. It can violate it. People and their actions and their response to your kindness and in response to your love, or you as an individual, but also that that bitterness that it comes in that isolation. It affects our heart. It affects our heart. So even though you're not shooting up people or you're not, you know, tripping people on purpose, you know, or finding yourself incarcerated, let's look at what are some of the things that we're doing. What are some of the acting out that we're doing when we have anger? You know, are you saying in your mind, oh, I wish they were dead, you know, or that may seem like nothing, but guess what? If we don't make our anger, our destructive anger constructive, then guess what? It can grow in its expression. It can grow and it can grow into severe consequences. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. But one, I want us to look at there's a great cost to destructive anger. If we can't control that destructive anger where we're hurting others, we're verbally abusing others, we're putting our needs above others, actually. Because when we're operating in a constructive anger, we can recognize, maybe they got a point. You know, that's a good idea. Or wow, you know, but that destructive anger, you cannot hear what they're saying. You cannot hear the possibility of the connection of a solution. No, all I can hear is you're not listening to me. This is the issue. You need to understand me. Things of that nature. So one of the things that we want to do is look at the cost of addiction, the cost of anger, because like Lupe said, anger can become an addiction. So I love how she brought that out, because sometimes, remember, addiction is all about immediate gratification. And what is, when we express our anger in destructive ways, what are we doing? We're finding that immediate gratification. So therefore, now it can become an addiction, because now this is the way that I find ease. This is the way that I relieve my tension. This is the way that I find peace, by now putting my needs above someone else's. Now I'm hollering, now I'm screaming, now I'm isolating, I'm criticizing, I'm, doing this, that, and other, maybe even taking it a step further. I'm putting my hands on you. Yeah, I'm making you. I'm angry because you're not listening to what I'm saying, or you don't agree with what I'm saying, or you're not doing what I'm saying, whatever the anger is surrounding, or I'm just angry and I'm just going to take it out on you. So there are some things that can become an addiction, because that becomes your way of release. That becomes your way of immediate gratification. So we want to be mindful of that. There's a great cost to that, because anger can destroy relationships. Family relationships, marital relationships, dating relationships, church relationships. You keep blowing up and doing things like that. After a while, people are going to be like, hey, okay, very nice seeing you again, while they're running across the street, things like that. It can also weaken you, because as long as we continue to give anger that full charge, give anger lead at the helm, guess what? I become weaker and weaker. I release myself to my anger. There's no self-control. There's nothing there that's going to bring me and my choices back to the forefront. Instead, I'm just letting the anger run wild. So therefore, I'm becoming weaker. I'm becoming weaker. We have a few of our youth at church. They're fasting today, and what they're trying to do is strengthen their spirit, so that their flesh don't take over. You all know this, but this is what we have to do with anger. I have to learn how to weaken my anger, so that my constructive anger, or my intelligence, can take over, that I can act things out decently and in order. I can talk it out. I can journal it through. I can pray about it, but I'm not acting it out, having consequences. Consequences are sometimes as little as friendships are broken. People walk away from you, because every time you get angry, there's a problem. Anger can go as far as maybe even consequences of jail and things like that, because you put your hands on somebody and now they call the police and you end up going to jail, or you get busted, or however it goes. What happens is we identify, if we don't dominate the anger, it will dominate us. Also, we have to be mindful that anger is normal. It's a normal situation, especially right now. You're in a vulnerable place in your recovery, because what you're doing, you're changing behaviors. So when you can't do what you're usually doing, I was sharing with someone earlier today, sometimes when I'm doing something and I'm in the midst of something, or whether it's washing the dishes, or just writing out a statement, or preparing for a group, and if someone in my house calls me and they need me, I might say, oh, because I was doing something. And so what happens is you're jarred into another world. See, when we're in our recovery, what happens is you're used to flowing a certain way, but now someone calls your name and you're jarred. Now I'm not going to be able to do what I was doing. I'm going to have to now go and do this. And sometimes it can bring what you get in that connection right there. Sometimes it's a little frustration or a little anger. And so anger is normal when you're in recovery. Let's remember that. Another thing that I want to say is anger is always connected, or most times at least connected, to unmet needs. We must understand that, because when our needs are not met, anger can produce. So we want to make sure that we take care of ourselves and take care of ourselves as a priority, because many times we run out to go do these things in life, maybe even to help others, but we haven't taken care of ourselves. We haven't eaten properly. We haven't made sure that we've taken care of our bills, and or things that's going to come in place to take care of our bills, or we're not meeting our own needs. Sometimes maybe you're dealing with PMS. Maybe your husband or wife just walked out and you need time to recover from the emotional pain. Sometimes, you know, you need to heal. You need a moment. So lots of times, a lot of the anger triggering comes from unmet needs. Also, constructive anger can be learned. We want to remember that even though we've operated in destructive anger, constructive anger can be learned. I hope you guys are taking notes. But you know what I want to say also is destructive anger never works long term. If we do not get this anger under control, it will crash and burn. And I know sometimes we have short-term goals around our anger, but now let's kind of stretch out and see what can we do for the long term, so that we can stay productive, so that we can stay connected into society, into our communities, but yet controlled with our anger. And also, I want to say venting doesn't work. Now, I brought this up the other day because I want us to realize that sometimes we talk about talking about things. Talking about things is good. Let's talk to get a solution. Because when we're venting, and then he said, and then she said, and da 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 da, and all this, that, and the other, what happens is it keeps the stimulation going many times. It keeps the stimulation going. The anger is continuing, and it keeps bringing it to mind. It's giving power to it every time. And now you're remembering something that's connected. Your mind is theorizing on something. Well, they must have said this in order for them to say that. You're branching off at a whole new branch that didn't even exist, you know, and it just gets worse with venting. So instead of venting, I think that it would be more productive if we start looking for solutions. I want to pause there and I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. So far, what you've heard with this constructive versus destructive anger, and what destructive anger does, and the cost of destructive anger. I want to hear from you. Have any of you ever experienced a cost from your anger, from your destructive anger? Please unmute your phone and share.
Sister Lupe here. Man, what can I say? I was a very angry person.
Was is the key word. I love it.
Man, I still get mad, but I don't dwell on it, and I kind of managed it and breathe, exercise, a lot of praying, right when I do get angry now, I kind of just I go at it with the devil, you know. You
Okay.
can't have my kids, you can't have my mind, and
Okay.
that's when I had enough. Like, I'm gonna go toe to toe with you right now.
Yes, yes, I love that.
I believe, like, due to my anger in the past, oh my God, I think I had a lot to do with my eldest mental health. You know, I think I had a lot to do with that. I was very abusive in her younger days, and now she has a lot of anger.
Okay.
And she's impulsive, and she don't care if it's grandma, grandpa, whoever it is.
Mhm.
So I think that you know, sometimes our kids, we might change, but now our kids, you know, is dealing with the anger or whatever it is that they saw us do, you know. And also, I believe even my relationships with people, and even in my marriage, anger definitely burned a lot of bridges in my life and relationships, and even jobs.
Okay.
You know, going, you know, just impulsiveness, you know, not caring if I'm on the clock and I gotta tell you off, and then it gets back to the boss, and then
Yeah.
next you know, I'm one of the first group of layoffs, you know. So
Yeah.
I definitely sabotaged a lot through my anger, and thanks to my anger, I it's probably, if not the most dangerous, and the most hurtful, because once you say something, you can't take it back. You could say I was angry, I didn't mean it, but it just does something to some, like, it's so hurtful. It's not, it's the opposite of love. So
Yeah. Oh.
yeah, I definitely did a lot of damage. So now that I see people even reacting a certain way towards me, I don't blame them. I did a lot of damage. I try to be empathetic about why they feel a certain way towards me, or why they're lashing out, or why they don't believe that I'm changed. I think it takes time, and maybe time, as I continue to not get angry, they'll see it. You can't just tell somebody, "Oh, I stopped being angry." Like, I stopped drinking.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, I stopped being
Trust me with
angry.
your purse now.
I think anger I think for me, it was worse than addiction. It was worse to quit.
Okay.
It's just more of I don't know, how can I explain it? Yeah, learning behavior.
Okay.
That has roots deeper than any, when before alcohol or any addiction came around. So definitely, I'm reaping what I sow now, but because I could understand the other person. I'm being very patient, and I'm not also letting them just vent to me when it's enough, that I know I need to walk away, because
Okay.
it's just hurtful to know how much damage you cause somebody, and then them yelling at you and telling you the details. You're like, okay, I know I was a horrible person. You're absolutely right, but it's time for me to go. 'Cause I can only take so much.
I cannot. I love that.
So yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. I'm taking accountability myself, but I can only take so much a day. Okay, so I'm gonna walk away. I love that. And thank you for your transparency and sharing the cost of anger in your life. Thank you so much. Anyone else? What was the cost of your destructive anger?
Well, hello. Wow. I find myself in the place of anger. I've always been uh the type of person uh where people feel they could just push me over.
Okay.
And not that I was just a pushover, but I know now that it was because of the love of God and the attributes that I portrayed,
Mhm.
and I wanted people to see the good in me.
Yes.
But then things start turning around in my life. Uh, things was forced on me,
Mhm.
and I didn't have no way out of it.
Wow.
I didn't have. I thought about every kind of way to get out of it, but logically there was no real way out of it. Um, because of my heart, and
Mhm.
I say that because the individual, I don't know, I could be transparent, but
Mhm.
knowing that, if you don't mind, I like to really open it up because it could help somebody.
Yes.
But reality is, I was handed my grandchildren,
Mhm.
and one thing a grandmother or grandparent can tell you, they love their grandchildren
Right.
full capacity. Sometimes we have a tendency to say more than we love our children, because one thing for sure, our children are now of age where
Yeah.
they can help themselves, but our grandchildren are like our children was yesteryears, and
Yeah.
they can help themselves. So I was handed that position, and of course, I thought it was gonna be all gravy because they my grandkids. They gonna do what I say.
Yeah.
They're my children's children,
Right.
and what I say goes.
That's right.
And the thing of it is, it all turned around. Uh, as a child get older, even with our children,
Mhm.
when they started getting older, we as parents will say they just smelling themselves or they're feeling themselves or
Yeah.
whatever. But as they get older, they mature
Yeah.
and they think differently. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
the love is still there, but they think differently. So
Right.
I find myself getting angry when
Okay.
I say do stuff and they don't do it.
Yeah.
I find myself getting angry. I've always been a stern person,
Mm-hmm.
always had that authority
Mm-hmm.
of sternness, but yet I had the heart for people always. And I would hear their mother tell me things like, why are you so mad? Why are you so angry? Because you need to get yourself together.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like life stops, but life still happens.
Mm-hmm.
What I came to grips is kids are gonna be kids because my kids were kids.
Right.
And I in the anger situation with her, I've learned to let it go.
Mm.
Because one thing about it, if God give you the position to take it over, then he must know you're the right person for that task.
Yes.
And I fought against it because all I wanted was for her to get herself together so you can get your kids, so I can live my life. I should be traveling. I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And
Right.
guess what? It's just like when I had children. I had to take them with me. I had to do with. And now it's the same thing. You
Yeah.
know, I really don't have anywhere I want to go. When I
Mhm.
say that, meaning there's not a place that I could go without them. You know, there's not somewhere that I want to go and not take them with me. You
Mhm.
know, so they have become a part of me. So in other words, I've released the anger from her
Wow.
because I realized God entrusted me with them.
Mhm.
And I love them. God knows. Ooh, I love them so much. But I do find myself getting angry. I've never said anything negative, but
Mm.
yes, I do fuss, you
Mm.
know. But
Yeah.
but at the same time, I know sometimes that little one, she's very opinionated, and
Okay.
she looks at me sometimes like I I can't read your thoughts, girl. But I know you saying something you ain't got no business in your mind, you know. And that makes me angry because I don't know. And she, I don't know what you that look means,
But
girl.
I know it's something.
Look, what you call me? you know, but I, but I thank God, that He entrusted me, and even though it was an angry situation or anger situation, I realized anger is also therapy.
Okay.
Because if you're not able to release what you feel, then you will harbor it. You will hold on to it. And then you will blow up.
Yeah.
So, we just have to learn, as you were saying, how to accommodate our anger.
Yes.
In other words, get angry, but don't do the sins.
Right.
Don't do the sin. Just get angry, say what you mean what you say,
Yeah.
and come back. And I'm gonna share this, and I'm gonna surely stop. I remember, I was so angry because my oldest grandbaby, he has that look too, but
Okay.
he'll display his look by hitting something or throwing something,
Okay.
and I was so angry. But what I did was I looked at him and I talked to him. And when I talked to him, the look on his face, like I just can't help it. Because we don't know.
Wow.
I don't know why they're angry. They
Yeah.
could be angry the same reason I'm angry.
Right.
Why did you leave us? Why
Yeah.
did you do this? Why is my nana have to go through this? So
Yeah.
they could be angry too.
Yeah.
But what I did was embraced him and held him.
Wow.
And just that holding on to him
Ooh.
He just melted in my arms.
Mm.
And I know, he loved me.
Yes. Yes.
A situation happened where I kind of got hurt. And
Mhm.
just his heart, his look on his face was like, God, if she gonna die, who gonna take care of us?
My God.
And that made the difference. And all the anger that I felt,
Wow.
even for the mother, I had to release it so that I can love them beyond my pain, beyond my hurt, beyond my situation, beyond the circumstance. I had to love them. And that cut that anger down. Now, do I still get angry? I do, but
Mm.
I handle it a lot different.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's work it out.
Yeah.
And to be honest with each and every one of you, that's my heart's passion, because I don't know what I would do. I just don't know. So I'm so grateful for this. Y'all may think I'm a big old baby, but honey, these emotions are most emotions that I used to didn't
Real.
have.
Yeah.
I would fight instead of have emotions.
Yeah.
But now God have taught me how to handle the emotions, the anger. He's taught me how, and I'm so grateful again to this class, because it truly, 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 you all don't know. I found myself in hearing Sister Lupe, and hearing Miss Jackson, and hearing different ones. I saw myself, because I was like, well, that ain't my portion, but it is. We
Wow.
all could grab a piece of that,
Yes.
because it is our portion. Something or someone makes us angry or mad enough that we can tell them a piece of our mind. But if we keep getting mad, giving them a piece of our mind, we're not going to have any left.
Thank you so much, Kashara, and thank you so much for your transparency. It really helps someone, guys, when we can trust the confidentiality of this line. And this is why I asked that if you so desired to come in with a anonymous names, and of course with your windows closed, because as these recordings go out, your story is going to be out there, and it's going to help somebody. It's going to help somebody. I'm so touched. There's a lot of now grandparents that are having to be the parent to their grandchildren. Grandparents by nature are supposed to take their grandbabies, enjoy them, and send them on back. You've done your duty in raising your children. You've built the inheritance for your children's children. And when life shows up and that doesn't happen, it does stop. It interrupts your plan. Like I said, sometimes if I'm mopping and if I have to stop, it's like, but it's a continual stop. Like you said, the things that you plan for your these years, we can't do them, because now you're faced with a job to now after raising your children, raising your grandchildren, and that can produce anger while you see the parent living their life, doing what they want to do, or whatever the situation is. And it can, but I love how, like you said, you start counteracting that anger. We're not asking God to take our anger away. We're just trying to control our anger. And I love how you saw you saw it carry on in the next generation with your grandchild, how they got so angry and just had the look on their face that I can't help it. Now that may be instilled in them. So it's important that you run with constructive anger so that your grandchild can have that example, that role model of how to deal with their anger. Because like you said, we don't know what our kids are going through sometimes. They may be feeling like, hey, why did she leave? Why do I have to stay here? You know, why aren't you sitting here? They see other kids in school when their younger parents come pick them up, and then here come us grandparents coming up, you know, why I gotta go through this, or whatever the situation may be. We don't know because it's not really according to reality, but it's according to their perception of their circumstance, how they can feel anger or how they can feel these things, and not knowing what to do with it. They can feel like, I like how Denise said, how that can move right into depression, because anything unresolved, anything that any unmet needs you have that don't get resolved, you've tried what you know to try, but still no resolve, it can bring you to a depressive state. It can bring you to isolation. It can bring you to a life of bitterness, and it can do the same in our children. So I love that you're embracing your anger and you're controlling it. And now you're being an example, because sometimes anger runs through our bloodline. I like how Sister Lupe say, I was groomed in anger, you know, as a child on up. I was groomed in it. So now she's fighting her whole past. She's not just fighting a behavior, she's fighting a part of her that's been developed. So, you know, and that can be a genetic situation and it can be a generational situation. So I'm loving this. One of the things that we have to be mindful of is our thinking. We often talk about positive self-talk. We often talk about those things. We want to talk about that constructive thinking. And I'm just going to throw a couple of examples out, or maybe, like I said, because I don't really want to rush through. We're in our last 20 minutes or so, so I don't want to rush through. So I want to maybe we'll pick back up on tomorrow. So today, let's talk about some of the mindsets that we have to, when our minds start raging according to a thought. Because remember, biblical principles tell us, so a man thinketh, so is he. So it's how I think, it's how I perceive the thing, it's how so now I got to change my thinking, my view on the matter for the safety of myself. Because if you know you got an anger problem and your anger is subject to blow, is subject to be destructive, is subject to get you in trouble or even put you in a bad place, then guess what? I need to change my way of thinking. So I'm going to read a few of these off. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about what we call MCL. MCL, an acronym of a more caring life. More caring life. We're gonna talk about how to motivate, contain, and listen to ourselves. And these things happen at different angles, or different approaches of your anger: before you're angry, during your anger episode, and after your anger episode. More caring life. We're going to see how that breaks down into that, but we're going to do that on tomorrow. So we're going to continue this. Yay. So, but right now, let's talk about some mindsets. Let's talk about some self-talk, positive self-talk. We got to remember it's up here that's running things. Positive self-talk. So I want to say, when we're considering, when we're, Denise, you have your hand up, baby. You can just go ahead and cut me off. Go ahead and
Amen.
speak.
You said about like responses to anger.
Mm-hmm.
Like situate. Okay, like let's say we got ongoing situations. Usually it's family members and
Okay.
or co-workers.
Mm-hmm.
Usually those are the people that chap your high, that step on your cord, that yank your chain, that mess with
Okay.
you, that meddle with you, that they always doing something that will get your dander up.
Okay.
And I had got to a point on my journey some years ago. I said, they are who they are and they do what they do. And positive self talk was say, don't let what they're doing and saying take you on no bad trip.
Come
Hold
on
hold
now.
on to yourself. Hold on to yourself. You know, some of the stuff this is a an all out attack, different types of attack to take you down. Its purpose is to take you down. And sometimes that positive self talk. Now, all this time we've been talking about that anger, I said I'm about to get online and tell the biggest, craziest lie ever. In prison, they used to let the men take their aggression out
Mhm.
on the weight pile. They
Okay.
used to let them have that,
Yeah.
somewhere to take out that male aggression. And I guess they took that away because these guys was getting too big. But anyway, us women, and you've seen it, and we have, maybe some of us on this line have done it, have hit something
Yeah.
or hit a wall. You've seen men put their fist through a wall because they're angry.
Yes.
What if we went to the gym? While angry. It got on the treadmill while angry. What if that happened? Oh Lord, help. Positive use of that energy
Absolutely.
rather than running to the Haagen-Dazs or the whatever the dirt is. You know what we do, ladies.
Yes.
That's why I don't
Yeah.
bake. I never learned how to bake because I knew I'd kill myself. Angry in the kitchen making a German chocolate cake at 2 or 3 in the morning. I know about me. But I had to acknowledge the fact that there are folks, some people are just gonna yank your chain.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, and they are who they are, and they do what they do. I cannot control what these people do, but sometimes I have to control their access into me.
Yes.
I have
Yes.
to, okay, let me not mess with them. And
Yes.
about
Ooh, I love that.
the sister that was talking about the grandchildren situation.
Mhm.
What's up with them grandbabies? They know you love them,
Mhm.
and they know probably at this time in their lives that you're the best thing for their life.
Wow.
But the child in them says, why can't my parent love me enough to have me?
Wow.
They are somewhere, even the best grandparent, the best auntie, the best uncle, the best, even if they living in a lap of luxury. Some of them, it's going to be an inside thing. I wish my mama, I wish my pops was here to do this.
Wow.
And that's just something that they face.
Mhm.
So, people, that's something that you're looking at with the grandkids when you have custody of grandkids.
Wow.
That the child in them is like, where's my mom? Where's my dad? Why can't they? And what are they doing that's more important?
No. Wow.
But they, that's what they see as kids. All
Mhm.
right, thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Denise. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. One of the things that I really took away from Denise sharing was not giving people access. You have to limit some people's access, those people that press your buttons that you haven't learned to control yet. Because I can't say, oh, I hope they don't make me mad. I have to do something about that. Because the reaction is mine. They throw the stone, but if I start throwing stones back, all the attention, all eyes on me. So what we find is sometimes we have to restrict some people's access and sometimes limit others. Thank you so much for that, Denise. I love that. And as a plan of action, I love that. If we were to take that anger and maybe do something constructive with it before it becomes destructive, take it to the gym, take it to the park, run track, do something positive that would you could get a benefit as well as a release. That would be wonderful. I love that. Anyone else before we go into some different views to kind of embrace? Anyone else?
Oh, no problem. Hello.
Yes. Hey, Bianca.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Sorry for my lateness, but I had a very important meeting this morning. But as I was just sitting and I was listening about anger, um, realizing that was something that was embedded in me as a child, going through my life. You know, I was raised with my brother and my cousin, the only girl. So, you know, you need to be tough. And, you know, then all the stuff that took place in my life, there was a bunch of negativity and a bunch of mess, made me angry on top of that. Then my outer appearance, and people would think that they could just take advantage of me because of the way I look. That made me just more angrier. So I did have angry problem that you know, it came a time in my life where when you just did too much, then I think it was I heard somebody say, you know, I just blacked out.
Okay.
All I seen was the red, like a bull coming to the red cloth. And so I would just go in full force. Because a lot of times people look at you, and because of your outer appearance, they think maybe they can run over you or say this, that, and the other. But no, uh, they would get dealt with. And so I found out that that was something that you know, I carried around. And then as I was listening to Miss CJ this morning, oh, so can I relate? May not be grandchildren, but can I relate to that story? Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Where you know, took my nieces and nephews in, um, was asked to do that, was asked to do that, was asked to not allow them to go into the system. Supposed to get two, ended up with four. And so was asked to do this. So I did it, you know, didn't want them to be in the system, mistreated, whatever goes on behind those doors. And so I took them. But then the anger arise because then you know, it was so much mess behind it, so much coming up against my character, coming up against uh, my integrity, just stealing monies. It was just so much back to back to back to back where I became very angry uh, with the person, very angry. Because here it is, I have your these are yours.
Right, right,
Um, I have yours. And the fact of the matter is, I wasn't hard up for no children because I had five of my own.
right,
So I wasn't sitting around wishing that somebody would give me a child. But I
right.
did it out the kindness of my heart, and my kindness was taken for weakness. In so many different areas, it was just taken for weakness. You know, smiling in my face, but yet it's still stealing and taking, and you
Wow.
know, not even so much you took from me, but you took from your children.
Wow.
You know, and so now I have a whole almost a half a dozen of young ones that's growing up, and now they grow up. They not dumb to the fact of what's going on.
Right.
So now they grow up with anger.
Ah.
You know, they grow up with anger. They grow up wondering why not only do she did us like that, but why is she doing my auntie like this? You know, and so like I said, so it was a lot of anger that I had
Yeah.
concerning this situation. But I like what uh, Mr. D said also. I had to learn also with all that was going on, all that I had to go through to get to where I am today. I
Yeah.
had to also learn how to not uh, be whether they was I think she said it was an access. I forgot how she said it,
Mm.
but it was more or less like removing myself away from it.
Okay.
Remove myself away from it. I've learned the three P's: my personal,
Accessible.
private, huh?
Not being accessible.
Accessible. That's
Don't
it.
give those people access to you.
Yes. Yes. And so I learned the three P's: my personal, private, and my public. And so I had to do some rearranging.
Yes, yes,
You're
yes.
not allowed, you cannot be in my personal and my private. Yes, I do have your children. Yes, you are my blood, but you can't be there because you have violated it time and time and time and time and time and time again. So
Yes.
with that being said, I got to rearrange you and I got to put you in the public
Yeah.
where, you know, you don't get to get that close to me. You
Right.
don't get that
Right.
close to me. Love you dearly, but I was taught at a young age how to love with a long hunted spoon.
Ah.
I was taught that at a young age. So a lot of times I didn't use it, you know, because of my heart and different things like that. God's gonna be angry with me and all that stuff that I played over in my head and all that. But I know also God gave me common sense,
Yes.
and God did say I had to be anybody's doormat,
Yeah.
nobody's doormat. Show them the love, you know. Get angry, but don't sin not,
That's right.
you know. And so today, I always say it took me a lifetime to get where I am today.
I am today.
It took me a lifetime to get here. And so when I see them, I love on them. You know, when we talk,
Mhm.
and I keep it going.
Yes.
I keep it going because I think they say you do me wrong first time, shame on you do me wrong second time, shame on me. But honey, when you done me wrong over and over and over and over again, come on, Alice, don't keep. I'm sorry, Bianca, don't keep hitting your head up against the wall here. But yeah, so I've learned, and
Yeah.
learning how to remove myself from that. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean again, it does not mean that I don't love them. It don't mean that at all, but I gotta make sure that I'm safe.
Yes.
I gotta make sure that what God gave me to nurture and to bring up, I gotta make sure they're safe.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I gotta try to get them through their anger. And
Yes.
to always to remember, regardless, it's still your parent.
Yeah.
It's still your parents. You know, so that's what I would like to say. And again, I like to apologize for being late because I was saying, "Ooh, I hope this meeting hurry up and get over because I can't miss my class. I can't miss it today." But thank you so much for allowing me to share.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you so much. You know, it's amazing. I like how you always say that. It took me a lifetime to just get here. And we're learning to prioritize ourselves. We're learning to change some of these unhealthy behaviors that we have become so common with in life. Again, I am on a drive to bring life change to people because of simply we get stuck in the routines of doing what we do and doing how we do it, and we don't see a detour road out of there. But when we come together in this fashion, iron sharpens iron. And we can just go ahead into our 2023. Again, there have been so many years where I was just hoping that the grace of God at the strike of midnight would fall upon me, and all the prophets' words of, you're going to have this or that. You're going to have peace. This is going to be a new year. You're in a shift. And I was just hoping that 12 o'clock midnight hour was that line of change for me. But then I would cross over into into the following year, sometimes the same. And I learned that this is an open door for me, that God is prophetically speaking through his prophets. But guess what? If I don't do anything to access the door, then guess what? It's just an open door. So faith without works is dead, guys. Faith is all about action. I got to take faith and make the steps and change these behaviors that's keeping me from crossing over into my next. Hey, I love you guys. I thank you so much. We're going to start on tomorrow with how some constructive and destructive views that we need to change in our thinking, because in our thinking, that's the foundation of who we are. So therefore, we want to start on tomorrow bright and early, 9:30. We're going to start, and we're going to talk about how what we need to do to change some of this thinking. excuse me, that brings us into this anger, into this destructive anger. Now, I like how we're learning how to turn this destructive anger into a constructive anger. And I love how Denise shared, we can take this anger and make it constructive for us. So many people start their year talking about 2023, they're going to go to a gym. So maybe this can be a part of our anger policy, you know, doing this, creating not just as an immediate need, because sometimes we may not be able to get to the gym in time before we blow up. But if we do this, you know, understanding, if we do this as maybe a routine of working out, then I create a channel to channel my anger. I create it. So now there's so many different things that we can do. We're going to talk about them on tomorrow. I love you guys. You are amazing. You rock in every way. God loves you perfectly just as you are, but he has given us the ability to get better and better and better, because the more that we yield to his spiritual word, we begin to see that we will live our best life. So God bless you guys. I want you to know what I say. Live free. Please live free. There's no bondage. There's no bondage. Love you, Sister Lupe. Love you. Thank you guys so much for your constant participation. And thank you so much for your love. And guess what? We'll be back here on tomorrow. God bless you guys.